My topic is about is it worth to go through the iliac bone and do the transfemoral endoscopy? So before going directly for this particular topic, I just like to stress about the number of cases what we have done. So what I feel that currently, because of so much of the interlaminar work, the number of the transfemoral surgeries are going less and less. So people don't have much experience about transfemoral surgery. So that's why interlaminar approach is becoming more popular. So I can just speak something about transforaminal. Already there are enough lectures. So basically in transforaminal endoscopy, what exactly we do? We go with a certain angle, lateral to the midline, and then we use the facet as a lever, and we use the annulus as an anchor. So you have the option to go, and you can maneuver your scope up and down. And at the same time, what you can do is the classical transfemoral endoscopy is go inside the disc, do a good annulectomy, which is a key, because if you do the good annulectomy, you are doing the medialization of the window. So basically, you are relieving the neck of the herniation. So once you remove the neck of the herniation, which is very tight, so if you go very flat and if you just remove the tip of the herniation, you are not going to finish the herniation which is inside, and which can become your recurrent herniation in later part of the patient's journey. So ideally, transfemoral endoscopy involves a good annulectomy and remove and make the neck of the herniation wide. That is one of the most important step for doing the transfemoral. And again, see, doing the interlaminar endoscopy, so I always do my cases under local anesthesia. So like the local anesthesia, we believe that that awake patient is the best urological monitor. So I wanted to get everything like I'm always connected to my patient by just talking to the patient. So you can see even in interlaminar endoscopy, we are doing all the cases under local anesthesia. So we don't want to lose the connection with the patient, and you can see you can get a nice, beautiful picture, and there are enough patients who are medically contraindicated for the surgery. We can still do all these cases under local anesthesia. So because of the now the more versatility of the interlaminar endoscopy, people are opting for the more of the interlaminar cases. But see, the simple way how I do the transiliac, I can just explain. So simple is like you just make a drawing and you feel there is no iliac crest. And then if iliac crest come in between, you make a hole and you just go through the iliac bone. And this is also can be done under local anesthesia. It's very simple. You just put the Jamshidi needle, pass it. In bone, only the periosteum is pen sensitive. You just anesthetize and then you pass the Jamshidi needle, then you pass a guide wire. Over the guide wire, you again pass the needle, anesthetize the trach, you go up to the disc and you anesthetize the annulus also. And then you repeat, so you have the manual bar, so you can just dilate through the guide wire. So keeping the guide wire up to the disc is very important, because this is going to make your life very safe, and you have a trach where you can always go inside. So you can see this is how we do it, and you can see sometimes you have the option that because of the ala of the sacrum is in between, so you may not be able to reach inside, but still you go and reach up to the facet, give the local anesthesia again, and then you can remit. So this is not difficult. It will take a few more minutes, and then once you are done, then you can just go ahead with the same way like what you are doing the discectomy. So my indication for the transiliac endoscopy especially is the central L5S1 disc, because for that particular thing you have to be more lateral, and if you go more lateral, the iliac crest is always going to come into the picture. So then the rest of the steps are very easy. So when I consider the transiliac, so whenever you have a thin patient, so you have the last disc herniation. So I will not mention as a L5S1. It's a last well-formed disc. So when you have the thin patient, so they have a less fat here. So like your entry will be more medial. in X-ray AP view, you always see the highest point of the iliac crest should not be above the L4-5 level. And on MRI, you have the central disc as well as you see there is a less lordosis. Then you have to be ready that this patient might require an endoscope, transiliac. So why there is a discussion about transiliac? So this I already explained that now because of the more attempt is going toward the interlaminar endoscopy. But again, the central disc herniation, it's difficult with the interlaminar technique also, and especially when you have the big bulge spreading on the both sides. So in this case, the transforaminal is a better option, even if you have to do the transiliac. So in my opinion, only the transforaminal endoscopy is better when because you can do the discography, so you can confirm, you have all the advantage that you can remove the herniation, you can remove all the free fragment, and you can avoid all the complications related to dural tear. So in my opinion, transiliac is a much safer and much better option as compared to the interlaminar endoscopy. Thank you.